Class. My name is Brandon Bruning, and this is week 6, discussion question 1. Now, this week, we were tasked with watching a video, and then we had some questions that were inlaid after we watched the video. And the video was on Reese Witherspoon and her playing the game Speak Out on Ellen. Now, the first question was, how does the game show different forms of communication disorders? And I think the first one is that it's just difficult to communicate in the first place. You can't do a lot of those words that need certain pronunciation, like your B's, M's, F's. They all kind of get lost because there's no uh, lip contact. And a type of communication disorder can be as simple as a struggle with pronunciation. Some kids can't do their R's very well, and it'll just jumble up. But I think that's one way that it shows it. It also shows a lack of understanding because if you take from Ellen's perspective, if she didn't have the prompts, she wouldn't be able to know exactly what she was saying. And if it weren't for like all the body language hints and stuff like that, it'd be very difficult to understand what the other person was saying. So those are the two that I wanted to focus on. Our next question was, if you were a student with these communication disorders or with communication disorders, uh, how would you feel and how would it impact you in the class? You'd feel very misunderstood or just not understood if it was from the way you would uh, say how you thought or how you felt and someone else didn't understand. You would just feel this constant like no one gets it, and you would see other people have the same what would feel like the same interaction, and they would understand what they were saying, and it would just drive you insane. But if it's from the other perspective, you'd have people always telling you what to do, and you would never know what they meant, and so it'd be a constant just struggle, and you wouldn't want to participate in class if you never understood what they said. It'd be hard to, and if they never understood what you said, you couldn't participate. They would ask you a question, you'd answer, they'd say you're wrong. You in your head, you know you're right, but to get it out is the problem. And then they'd say you're wrong. It would just be very aggravating. That's another thing. It would just that leads to the next question I should say, and that's why do these children or these other students with the communication disorders, why do they tend to, or why do they have behavioral issues, or why do they tend to be aggressive in class? It's because I imagine it as when you're trying to talk to somebody and you have to repeat yourself multiple times, you get mad, you know? Or if someone's like whispering to you and you don't understand them, it's what? And they say it again and you still don't get it. You're like, what? And they say it again and you still don't get it. So it kind of just becomes like a, look, I'm sorry. This is what I do most of the time if I'm listening to somebody and I keep misunderstanding them or not being able to hear them. It's just a, hey, I'm not hearing you, so I'm feeling real dumb right now. If you could speak up, that would be great. That's something I like to do a lot. Well, I don't like to do it, but it's something that ends up happening, especially when people whisper. Whispering, like I think of like high school in class, kids would talk to you. It was just you wouldn't hear them, so you do a little, yeah, and then they'd be like, oh, so what do you think? You're like, shoot, crazy. I have no idea what you said. So I think that's the reason that a lot of them have behavioral issues because from either side, you're going to get aggravated. If I'm talking to you right now and you're not understanding a word I'm saying and I'm articulating the best way I can and you still don't understand, I'm upset at your comprehension. Now, if you're talking to me, I'm not understanding the words you're saying. I'm getting upset because now I just feel dumb, because clearly you're trying your best and I'm not getting it. And if anyone else gets it, then that means there's something wrong with me. And students with these communication disorders, they recognize that very quickly. They recognize that it's like it's their fault. They think it's their fault, and they just lose the motivation to want to speak up or do anything because they're gonna mess it up. That's what they think, and truthfully, that does happen. And I mean, we've all been there. You've had some type of problem, especially with like listening to somebody and not getting it right, and you're just like, oh, that's on me. It could have been a complete just miscommunication on both parts, but you're always gonna blame yourself on it, and that's just kind of human nature. So yeah, I think those are my answers to questions this week. Thank you all for listening. Have a good one.